All right, so we're trying this again. I've gone back and I've deleted the former videos, the live streams from this morning, and it looks like that may have taken care of the problem. Weird things going on. Okay, it looks like everything's up and going. As long as the sound's good, we'll be going along, okay? And you might be wondering why I'm coming on today, because, I'm not doing this very much. You have lots of people to go to listen to. Lots of people. But I figured today maybe it was time for me to just bring a couple things up, because I don't know about you, but again, I thought the State of the Union address was great. All the wonderful things that were said and done. The young boy, his father who was given a star, the young girl with the scholarship, bringing home the soldier, the situation with Rush Limbaugh. I mean, on and on. The whole thing was great, okay? Go listen to everybody else that wants to tell you how wonderful it was. I agree, it was wonderful. But we've heard all of this before. So, I'm still from Missouri. I'll see it when I believe it. Do I look a little put out this morning? Yeah, and you'll understand why in a couple minutes. Not just because of the YouTube problem, the video, the live stream. So, we hear now that, as usual, FBI Ray is stonewalling, trying not to release information. What the hell is Trump? What the hell are Trump and Barr doing? Ray should either be fired or be required to perform, and he's doing neither, unless what he's doing is what they're requiring of him. Do you get my point? Do you get my point? If what he's doing is what they require of him, boy, this is way too loud, isn't it? Let me drop this down. When I get going, sometimes I can get way too loud. I'm sorry. Okay. I've even got the mic off to the right here a little bit, to your left. See if that's a little bit better. So Ray keeps coming up with these excuses and stonewalling. Either he's doing something that he should be fired for, or else he's doing what he's being told. There is no other option. Okay? And we're really getting tired of this. Durham, we're told, Greg Rubino is still out there saying Durham's coming possibly by the middle of this month. It was supposed to be sometime between middle of January and the middle of February, according to Rubino. Rubini, I guess, is it Greg Rubini. Of course, Barr said it would be late spring, early summer. Whatever. The point is that I'm beginning to wonder what's happening here, because one of the things that Ray said was, well, I can't comment on those things because Durham's investigating them. Notice how they always have a cover for not having to address the issue. This is not right. I don't care what Dan Bongino says. I don't care what Fox News says. I don't care what Greg Jarrett says. I don't care what Lou Dobbs says. And I sure as hell, this is just getting absurd. I really like Joe DeGeneva and Victoria Tensing, but I'll tell you what, they've been way off too, at least on the timing. Oh, as Barr says, these things take time. Are you as disgusted as I am? Immigration's going crazy. Trump might win the 2020 election, but that's going to be the last one if they don't turn this immigration thing around. I think most of us know that. You need to go, if you're on Twitter, you need to go and follow Mark Pantano. Mark Pantano. He's another one. I throw a lot of names out there. I've talked about Headlines with a Voice, Nancy Morgan Hart. I've talked about Gigi Sims, etc., etc. Mark Pantano has his head in the right place. It's screwed on right, and he's got his feet on the ground. And he'll call it like he sees it. He's kind of like me, has a lot larger audience, and I'm sure much better sources at this point. He says it the way it is. He'll give Trump credos when they're deserved, and he'll knock them down when he's done something stupid. And I'm sorry, but I'm still not impressed. One of the things he says during the State of the Union is, as long as I'm president, your Second Amendment is safe. Well, that's certainly manifestly not true today. I want to believe this guy, but I can't. And I'm losing more faith every day. Am I doing this because people like to hear this? No, I'm frustrated because I spent 28 years defending this republic, supposed republic, to find out how we've been sold down the drain, and now we're being placated by a what apparently is a TV superstar. And that's the way I look at it. Oh, look at all the wonderful things he's done. All I'm going to say about that, ladies and gentlemen, go look at Mark Pantano and see what he has to say about it, okay? If you're going to go listen to cheerleaders like Dan Bongino and all those others, not that I don't like Dan, I do. But there's something wrong here with these people that, they'll say, oh, don't divide the party, Roy. The party, I'm worried about the damn Constitution. The party, to hell with the party. Republican. I feel like Isaiah, the way he put it was, to the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this, it is because there is no light in them. Well, we can say the same thing. Dan Bongino, all these people can do they can extol Trump all they want, praise him all they want, protect him all they want, but they're not speaking according to the law and testimony, which in our case could go further to talk about the Constitution of the Republic and the right things in government. So the FBI under Wray is totally screwed. The thing needs to be totally dismantled, as I've called for many, many years. What's the likelihood of that? Well, zero. You got people like Barr in there. The whole thing is about saving the institution. So now FBI Wray can hold off answering questions by saying that Durham is investigating it. Well, is Durham another cover-up? Or even if he's working on it, like I've said, Barr is not going to let him do it. No, we keep hearing all these wonderful things coming. Yeah. So's the next century. Okay. That's how I feel about the SOTU. Wonderful, spectacular, pomp and ceremony. And what Nancy Pelosi did was disgusting. I agree. What the Democrats did was disgusting. I agree. These people need to be arrested. Trying to work this thing out politically is long lost. They've already said it. What did they just say? Okay, this impeachment's down, on to the next program. And everybody on the Republican side going, oh yeah, okay, yeah, go ahead and do your thing. We know you're not going to stop. This is a Bolshevik revolution that we think it's a political, ideological debate. So that's where I stand on that. Let's check the chat real quick and make sure that things are moving along there. I'm sorry about the lighting and everything this morning, but I just set this up really fast just so... I wasn't going to do it. Not that I don't respect you wonderful people that have been with me for a long time and the new ones that are sincere about our concerns. But... I sound like a broken record. Okay, let's change the subject slightly. Still on the same course, but let's talk about NCOV-19. I'm sure you all want to know what my feeling on it is. Number one, I am not a doctor. Number two, I'm not an epidemiologist. Number three, I don't have any real good source information at all. I'm piecing together circumstantial evidence. Okay? That's what I'm doing. Take it or leave it. We know for a long time that there's been a movement by the New World Order, the UN, etc., to decrease population. We know that. We know there are eugenics programs. We know about the Georgia Guidestones, where they say they want to reduce the population to 500 million. Actually, it's a lot less than that. That's the target, but they'd like to get a lot lower than that. If you don't know about these things, you need to go look them up. Governments cannot continue to support, with the social safety nets they have in place, the huge population that is coming forward, at least not under the present banking system. I'm not saying it isn't possible. Please, don't misunderstand me. I think that the Earth can hold as much as we have now and more and then some if we manage it correctly. But unfortunately, with our banking system, with our monetary systems, I'm not calling for a one world currency. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's mismanaged deliberately for the sake of a few. That is true. They look at us as, peons, as servants, and they're the almighty gods. They're not fooling me, and I don't think they're fooling most of you. Okay? But we know that that's their program. Okay? We know that. There have been a lot of, even in the United States, there have been a lot of instances that we are now aware of. For instance, the syphilis that they gave the black population back in the 50s to give them that disease, the syphilitic disease. We know that they've tested chemical weapons of various types, different chemicals. They're spraying the skies now. They denied it for so long, and now they're finally admitting it. I'd like to see the looks on the faces of those people who've been telling us that we're tinfoil hats, because this is all coming out now. But it's too late to really do anything about it, because Trump sure as hell isn't doing anything about it. He's going to support the Second Amendment. Gosh damn, I'm tired of these words. Back on NCOV-19. Nancy Morgan Hart with Headlines with the Voice has been keeping up on this, but she's having to depend upon, as all of us are, and she's only reporting the facts as she can discover them coming out of what report she looks at. And of course, China's not giving us the basic information, the truth. So I've been looking at this thing, and of course, Alex Jones has come out now, and he's had Professor Boyle on, Dr. Boyle, to talk about that this is apparently a bioweapon. It has the structures of a bioweapon, et cetera, et cetera. And I have no doubt about that, even if nobody in the government's going to admit it. I have no doubt that's the case, and this is why I'm going to go there. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not even a biologist, an epidemiologist. I don't even have any hardcore statistics or documents or evidence. But I just want to say what I'm seeing. As I mentioned, governments need to cull their populations in some way. China is the testing ground. China is the number one place that this has to be done. Even the Chinese government has wanted to do it for a long time, and they tried, with the Maoist revolution. They killed 60 to 80 to 100 million of their own people. I saw an article from Shepard Ambellas. He runs IntelliHub. It's a news service. And Shepard's done some great work. He did some great work on the Las Vegas shooting. Excellent work. He has also done some great work on a lot of other things. Sometimes he kind of gets a little out there, but don't we all? But he mentioned, it was a very short post on Twitter, where he showed this situation with NCOV-19, and he said, culling the population. I think it was, it may have been a hashtag, I'm not real sure. And frankly, that's what got me to saying that I need to speak up about this, because I see some real possibilities of what's going on here. I'm jumping around a little bit, but you'll understand where this is going by the time I'm done. In 2013, there was an incident that occurred off the coast of Los Angeles. And a lot of people saw this. They saw what the media and other people said was a firework that was shot off, and there were a lot of other excuses about what happened. But the evidence suggests that I've looked at that a Chinese submarine had been able to compromise our electronic defenses. And so they came within, I think it was about 10 to 5 miles of our coastline, and then fired the missile out to the Pacific. They knew better than to fire it inland. That would have been an act of war. I mean, what they did was actually an act of war, but it's kind of hard to deal with something like that. So anyway, they fired it out west. If any of you remember that, it was a big thing that I talked about at the time. We also had the Chinese, after the Sandy Hook situation, tell Obama that he had to start prohibiting firearms in the hands of civilians. You notice the Chinese always do that, and then our Democrats do the same thing, right? And even the rhinos, even the Republicans go along with this crap. So you have to keep those things in mind, okay? Then we had the situation after Trump took office. There was a World Economic Forum, the Davos, where the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, said that he would force Trump and the United States into the New World Order. He would do this. Now everybody's clapping Trump, saying, "Oh, Trump's really showing off China. You know, he's had these sanctions and things, and he's really showing China." Okay, great, fine. Well, there's some indications that this nCoV-19 was slipped out of a lab by Chinese spies from a lab in Canada, possibly taken to Wuhan, where there's a bioweapons lab. We already know about several people being arrested on this thing, okay? At least one Harvard professor. Okay, so there's some background to this. What I'm proposing, putting all this together, is this. The Chinese have a population problem, especially the elderly. Okay? They really can't handle it anymore, especially not with the sanctions. So, sanctions is the wrong thing, the tariffs. So, they want to go to war with the United States. They've already shown us that they can penetrate our electronic defenses. They did that in 2013 and on a more recent episode with the USS Fitzgerald. Do you remember that? The poor commander of that ship and a lot of officers were relieved of duty. There were some people killed in the collision, Americans, but it wasn't their fault. Our government, our DOD let our people down. And the Chinese knew that they had penetrated our defenses in 2013, and they did it again on the USS Fitzgerald, and it happened another time as well. But I think those two things are important. How did they do this? Well, it's pretty obvious. I mean, with everything else that the Clintons have sold the Chinese and been traders with, it's not too hard for us to understand that this electronic warfare capability has probably been given to the Chinese. I mean, to think otherwise, if not given, at least allowed them to take it, like they've done many other things. So, this nCoV-19 was taken to Wuhan to the bioweapons lab. And China knew that this is my thinking now, they would like to attack the United States with it. They would like to take us out. But we are a multicultural society. I'm not saying I like that. I don't mind diversity, but we need to have our own American culture with our own language and all that. We can still be a melting pot of all these different people, but the point is, how do you design a bioweapon to take out Americans? You can't. You're going to take out all kinds of Americans, right? Because you got to do things like a race-specific, gene-specific, age-specific, those delineators. So let's say that the Chinese were considering showing off their power as they did in the 2013 missile incident and in the USS Fitzgerald incident. Let's just say that they want to show the U.S. that they're really not going to kowtow, okay? And I'm saying they should kowtow to us, okay? I'm just pointing this out. So what occurs? Well, they decide to go ahead and again, remember, the U.S. government has done radioactive testing on its own citizens, especially on soldiers. They've done the syphilis injections, along with saying that they were immunizing those men. And there have been lots of other things like that. Okay, those are just examples. I don't want to take a lot of time. The point is the U.S. government's done this, and you don't think the Chinese haven't? So they saw an opportunity, in my estimation, that they could get rid of their elderly. It's very possible. I've asked some people about this. I can't get any information, but it's very possible that this nCoV-19 has been bioengineered to take out Asians and the elderly. When I say elderly, I mean primarily people whose immune systems are compromised or who have other health problems. And if you go to the Patriot nurse, I've brought her up before. She's great, absolutely great. She has her feet on the ground. She doesn't involve herself in the panic because she's a professional. She's saying some very good things. And I would go along with exactly what she's saying as far as the precautions you need to take. I'm just adding this strategic point of view to it as well. Again, so we're back in China. China has an elderly population. They'd like to get rid of it. They would like to show the United States what they're capable of. But if they had released a bioweapon, say against whites in the United States, it would have been an act of war and immediate retaliation could have occurred. Chinese don't work like that. What are they doing? They're killing two birds with one stone. They're culling their elderly, immune system compromised, diseased population, and it's apparently acting only on Asians. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people that aren't affected in other races. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this almost makes a lot of sense. So they're doing two things. They're showing the United States what they're capable of, and they're also culling a population that's really too big for them to handle. Plus, they're doing the martial law and all this other stuff, right? I think that's what we're seeing. I don't know what the real numbers are. Apparently right now they're saying that there are 150, 200,000 confirmed cases that the Chinese have, but they won't confirm, but that's come out in another way, and something like 25 to 30,000 deaths so far. I'm not saying this to cause panic. I'm not saying that because, well, the problem with this thing is that it has apparently been weaponized. It's a bioweapon of some sort. So there are some problems, but you can see where this is going. Forced vaccinations, and I know you all understand all this. But what I'm getting down to is that I really think that the Chinese spy situation, taking this bioweapon to Wuhan, to the bioweapons lab there, and then releasing it in Wuhan, was in fact deliberate, from what I can tell. And that the only reason why the Chinese don't want the real numbers coming out, because remember I said, well, the Chinese want to prove to the U.S. what they can do. Well, you got to understand this is a game they play. Okay, this is a game. Knowledge is power, and they don't want all the information too readily available. Plus, they have their own population to control. Okay, so there are some things going on there. But I think at this point, as far as us taking the precautions to protect ourselves, and I mean that as far as individuals trying to keep from getting sick, go listen to Patriot Nurse. She's much more capable and she's a professional. She can give you that information. The Patriot Nurse on YouTube. Okay? And she has some of that good information on what you can do. Hygiene is a big part of it, but being a bioengineered weapon, if you have a gene that is susceptible to the attack, no matter what race you are, because the races are pretty mixed up now. If you have a gene there that it can attack, it will. Okay, a gene problem where the virus can recognize that, say that you're a target. I think that's what's going on. I hope I explained it well. So the bottom line is here, China saw another way to influence U.S. policy. Number one, by making a threat, but they couldn't make it to us directly because that would have been an act of war, so they released it on their own population to cull the population because they have too many people, especially the elderly and the diseased. That's my take. Again, for your own protection, for your own defenses against these things, Go listen to Patriot Nurse. Use good hygiene. Take your vitamins. Whatever. There are all kinds of possible regimens out there. One of the ones that I've been doing is taking a lot of vitamin C and garlic. Also, I don't need to push Alex Jones stuff, but I got to admit that X2 iodine is dang good stuff. Okay, and you can do some really fantastic things with that. I'm not going to tell you what, because then somebody will say, I'm practicing medicine, and that's just not the case. So, there's some good things out there. Keep your nutrition up. That's the big thing at this point, and avoid places where people are coughing and all that. All the rest of it. By the way, yes, caramel cream coffee this morning. By the way, I love my percolator. I use it every day. I don't use drip coffee makers anymore. Okay, that's really all I have. I guess to sum it all up is we can't really trust or depend on anybody. I wish, I saw a thing where a guy sent me a DM with Kim Clement, the prophet that Trey Smith likes, talking about Trump getting elected, and then there would be an impeachment, and that God told him it would fail, and all that. All that's great, but from and I'm not saying, as I've said before, I'm not saying Kim is a bad person or was a bad person. He died a few years ago. Very good guy as far as I could tell. But there were the tarot cards that talked about all this as well. Okay, so what? The devil knows what's going on too, right? And again, I'm not saying Kim was on that side, but he did do something that still hasn't quite panned out. And he said that Bill Gates would come to the rescue of the United States and save us financially. Well, that's not going to happen. What is apparently happening is that Gates is pushing this vaccine. Okay, so that's exactly counting a prophecy. You can't have those kinds of disconnects. Okay, you got to be very careful there. So at any rate, just take all of that into consideration and prepare accordingly. I don't trust what our government's doing. I'd like to trust Trump. But, saying one thing and doing something else, this has just happened too many times. And I saw, was it Tim Ryan, that Democrat representative that Tulsi Gabbard put in his place over the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, etc. She did a great job on that. I don't trust Tulsi. I still don't trust her. But this Tim Ryan guy, he was on saying, he walked out of the State of the Union because it was all lies. Well, no, it wasn't all lies. It's just that it's not happening the way it's projected. The effort might be there, but until Barr, Durham, and Trump start taking out, and I mean that in more than one way, start taking out the traitors that have tried to take us down this Bolshevik, communist, criminal road, we're not going to survive this. Has Trump set the table so that he can take action his second term? Don't bet on that. The second term is also a lame duck term, if you know what I mean by that. And the Democrats aren't going to stop. The communists aren't going to stop. We have to prepare ourselves and get ready for what's happening here. Okay, let's go to chat real quick. Yeah, we've been going for a half an hour. That's pretty interesting. Let's see what you all have to say. All right. That's a good one. I miss Nick Plur. Nasty Nancy rips his speech publicly, then they all go in the back and sign the MCA, the USMCA together. Yeah, I know what you're saying. WTS says, tired of sitting around waiting on them to strike. I know, that's why you make your own preparations. You do the best you can. Edelson here is here again. He says, so too was a BS fest courtesy of Trump. I am sick to my stomach. Well, again, some wonderful things were done there, Edelson, but that's the thing. You mix these good things with distortions and exaggerations, and it's just too much. Did Potter go to the Virginia rally? Hey, Ray, 733.7, did you? Now, I've done a lot of things, and I'm not here to extol my background and explain what I've done. I did get involved in talking about the Virginia rally, but no, I didn't go, and I told you the reason why, and if you don't understand that, as a matter of fact, I think I'll just get rid of you, okay? I can see where this is going, and I don't particularly care to talk to you, okay? So you're gone, out here. You know the accuser by what they accuse you thereof, right? Bellicose, hyperbole 737. Bill still talked about the consent decree between the Dems and Republicans a few months back. Yeah, and I think Barr has something to do with that. Yes, I agree. And it's all to keep them in power. Remember, it's a left-right paradigm. All of a sudden, though, Dan Bongino and Alex Jones want to keep stroking Trump and saying how great he is, and I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry, I'm not. And this thing with China, they said they were going to come after him if he's for real. Okay, if he's for real, they're going to come after him. Well, okay, are they coming after him? Does that make him for real? Oh, well, yeah, maybe. Or else there's some other things happening. I'll leave that to your perusal because I'm not sure what to say about it, and I don't want to go too far down that road. Okay, let's see here. My take on Romney, Native Wolf. My take on Romney. Haven't you been listening to my Twitter? I know the politics, the corruption, the deceit, the criminality in the state of Utah to a T. I've been warning about this place for a long time. I called out Huber when I knew he wouldn't do anything. Romney is an old Utah family. He went back to Massachusetts, became governor of Massachusetts, and then like a carpetbagger, as Mike Cernovich calls him, comes back to Utah to take a Senate seat. He had no business getting that Senate seat. Why did he get it? Because 47 East South Temple set it up. That's why. Because they're in cahoots with the Democrats. They pretend to be conservatives, and they're not. And I could tell you a lot more about the people at 47 East South Temple. If you don't know what that means, look it up. But I'm not going to do it here. I've intimated it. I've given some details in the past. I've told you how I've rushed. There are some really bad, evil people in Utah. And Romney is one of them. I don't like Mike Lee either. Mike Lee's trying to sell us out onto the immigration deal with this whole thing with bringing workers here. And there are other things. As I've often explained, I was involved to a minor amount on the Franklin cover-up investigation of Senator, the Nebraska Senator, John DeCamp. I got involved with that investigation because of some contacts and information I had, and I can tell you there are very bad people in Utah, okay? Very bad. And Romney is here, and Huber helped to cover it up, and Mike Lee won't talk about it. Jason Chaffetz, I think, got out of the Congress. I don't know Jason Chaffetz personally, but I think he's a guy of honor, even if he is LDS and, lives in Happy Valley is what we call it. But I think he saw what was going on. I think he understood, and I think he had the common decency and the personal integrity to get away from it because he knew he couldn't do anything about it. He has to live in the world but not be of it. Yeah, I know he's on Fox and he's a contributor and he talks, but at least he's speaking out to some extent. I wish he'd do more, but oh well. Yeah, I've already talked about the massive Chinese cover-up. Remember what this is. This is a message to the United States government, and so they can also cull their people. They don't need to tell the truth. They don't need to put it out. And there's no way that the U.S. government doesn't know what's really happening there, okay? They know. They can't cover it up. It's not possible. They can make it so their own people can't find out what's really going on, and that's definitely happening. But they're culling their population on purpose, and they're sending a military message to the United States because they want us to change our policies towards them. Disgustable. I haven't really returned. Like I said, I'll come on from time to time. I've done some. I've talked about them. I'm doing those written posts on YouTube now on my community tab, and it comes out on the timeline if you're subscribed to me. I understand. And that's where I'm making most of my comments on those. Usually posting Twitters. Oh my goodness! I got to go get a battery pack here. Hold on just a second. We're back. Hold on just a second. I was trying to do this without getting all set up like I was explaining. All right, sorry about that. Got to notice my battery is almost dead. Like I said, I wasn't planning on being on that long this morning. As I was telling Disgustable, really, how many times do we have to repeat ourselves about the circumstances as they're unfolding? Nobody's been arrested except conservatives. Barr's still going after the Bundys apparently next month when they see all the things the FBI and the feds have done to Trump and to others on this whole thing with FBI 302s and hiding Brady, evidence that would be show innocence. And they're still doing this. Flynn's still having to fight. That should have been dropped a long time ago. And I like Rich Higgins, but he says the Barr can't do it because it would be politically bad for Trump and for Barr to do that. I'm tired of excuses of political expediency or not being politically expedient. It is unjust. It is unconstitutional. It is immoral. It is evil. So, Rich, I disagree with you. And if there's somebody who's attacked you, Rich, lately, and I think that was incorrect to do, and I think you know who I'm talking about, I unfollowed her because I got tired of her being so arrogant and accusatory. I don't care if she does know everything in the world about intelligence. But the fact of the matter is that, well, anyway, I guess I lost my train of thought. I'm just looking down through. Love Nancy Morgan Hart. Yes, I do. Oh, that's nice of you to say me crazy, Lala. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's what I was going to say. Rich Higgins said he was using the excuse that, you have to think strategically, and so did this lady that I finally booted off my line, who apparently has quite a reputation, but I just got tired of her. Yes, you have to think strategically, and yes, the DS and the intelligence community in particular. I'm really happy to hear Lionel finally come out and say our real problem is the intelligence community. That people are finally seeing that, and I've been calling that out for years. The motto of my channel again: the intelligence community is our most dangerous domestic enemy. I understand about thinking strategically, but at the same time, you're in a freaking war. Okay? And you can't keep backing up. You can't keep drawing them in. It comes a point when they're all inside your wire. And they all are really already inside the wire now, and they have been for a long time. But you got to take some of these people out. They got to be arrested and thrown into a court system and tried. Oh, we don't have the judges to do that. There are ways to get this done. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm tired of this. I agree with thinking strategically, but at some point in time, strategic action also means action. Spaced out, you're saying both of my videos were pulled. I actually took them down because of the problem with the transmission. If you mean the two that were called this, I had one and then the other, and I couldn't get them to work right. I pulled those down so there wouldn't be any confusion. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, coronavirus is in the U.S., and they knew it too. The thing is I at this point, and they're not going to release this information because it wouldn't be politically correct to tell us that it's only affecting Asians or people that have a specific gene that Asians carry. They're not going to tell you that. They like the fear too. See, they find ways to use these things to their advantage. Donna Kaiser, I'm going to disagree with you on that. I'm going to tell you that the fact of the matter is that I was acquainted. I never met him, but I was on Field McConnell's radio program a couple times, once or twice, and I know several of his agents, as they call them. Okay. When Timothy Holmseth started his nonsense and started to attack others, including Monograph and others, and when I came to their defense, then he accused me of pedophilia as well. Well, unfortunately, Field McConnell got on that same wagon, and that was totally unjustified, a lie and a false accusation. So, frankly, it sounds like to me that what they've done to this Miss Picasio person in Florida and some of the other threats that they've made to some others, I think Field's getting what he deserves. Sorry, and if you don't like that, you don't have to come back. But I was intimately involved in this to some degree, and I know the false accusations that have been thrown around out there, and that's wrong. If he wants to quote Scripture, he better start realizing that false accusations, right, bearing false witness is a violation of one of the 10 Commandments, and he violated it way too many times and continues to do so today. Sorry, you don't have my sympathy. Yeah, there are confirmed cases of coronavirus. The question now is it, and I don't know if it's they always say it can mutate, but mutations usually have a tendency to go, to follow the law of entropy, which is why I oppose the theory of evolution, is because of the law of entropy. So the chances are that this thing will mutate into something not as dangerous. If we see something else happen here, it's because somebody with a gene that can be attacked, it finds that type of person, and we'll see. Or they could release a new strain. Who knows? But I think, again, follow Patriot Nurse about what's going on. She has not made any indications about the race-specific or the circumstances that I've explained and what I think is going on here. She's not going there. She's going from a strictly medical, professional point of view. God bless her. Booger Dog, Patriot Nurse is my online soulmate. Musabi009 says that. Yeah, she's pretty good, I gotta admit. Yeah, Jennifer for Veterans for Truth, she actually does some excellent research. Sometimes she goes overboard. Sometimes she says some things that maybe she shouldn't, like about me. But that's okay. I don't have any animosity towards her. She's done some good work. And yeah, those videos definitely tell that there's something more going on there than they're letting on to. But again, consider the scenario that I put out there, and I think that's exactly what's going on. Yeah, Edelson James, I'm addressing you again. Unless I see some people land up in cuffs, this is all for naught. Remember, Barr has said things like, well, just with what they're doing, they went and they arrested, indicted some, and I talked about Dave Hodges with Common Sense Show. He brought this up just yesterday. I was talking about it when it occurred several months back, where there was this conspiracy, I guess, actually, to get money to different Democrats from foreign sources. And this guy, I forget how you say his name. It's a Middle Eastern name, if I remember. But anyway, a group of these people have been indicted. And Nader, I think, was involved in it as well. The guy who's been arrested for sex trafficking, who was on Mueller's witness list. All of those people. And so Dave Hodges is saying, oh, Barr's moving, he's going after this. Well, not really. I mean, yeah, that. But going after the coup plotters and the traitors and seditionists, no, he's not. And I fear that they're still going to consider us, that are saying that things need to be fixed. They're going to consider us the traitors. You know, that's how this is going to go down from what I can tell. Again, this thing with Durham is going to tell the bottom line. If Durham comes in and Barr sticks to his deal about saving the institutions, that this was all a big misunderstanding and we've put guidance in place now and policies that are going to fix it, like what Ray said the other day, which is absolutely outrageously stupid. These were professionals that knew that they were doing criminal acts, and they did it because they thought they had the cover of their leadership above them. I'm not going to give them a pass. No way. And you can bet if I were president, there would be people that they'd be out of the picture now one way or the other. Okay, well, I've been going for 40, almost 50 minutes. Booger Dog, Barr's fence mending fixing goes back to Vice President Bush. Yeah, and I've talked about that before. I've talked about all that. Yep. And you've got it all there. Pegasus, Contras, Ruby Ridge, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is a really good point. Concerned citizen. Not a single one within our government is willing or able to out their compromised colleagues. Trump's no different. He keeps appointing deep staters. I know. I know. See why I don't do this much anymore? Isn't this a broken record? I will never allow your Second Amendment to be violated. And he does it. He's doing it now. Our First Amendment's being violated now, and he's done nothing. Voter registration, voter fraud, all of this. Oh yeah, he's going after a few of these people, you know, of low-hanging fruit, and then these foreigners that had this conspiracy to give money to people like Adam Schiff. Yeah, that's right. Masabi 009, Harvard professor and two students. I'd forgotten about the two students. Thank you. That's on this whole coronavirus situation. Where are all the children in China? And that's another problem. It could be that it's taking out the very young too, who haven't developed good immune systems. It's very possible. Either way, they're definitely culling their population. So it's doing two things. It's sending a message to the U.S. of what they could do, and they're culling their population. Two birds with one stone. Yeah, a lot of you are saying some good things here. Israel's been caught over and over selling our tech and secrets to China. Hell, they control our internet. A lot of our security systems. Hello, Joe Blow. Morning, Lieutenant Colonel MP Corps. Oh, I'm not a Lieutenant Colonel anymore, right? Okay. Hopkinson. Yeah, what is Event 201? Roy, I loved Patriot Nurse. Well, 201, of course. Yeah, Patriot Nurse is great. And Event 201, go see Nancy Morgan Hart's Headlines with a Voice. She talks about Event 201. It was an exercise that was run with Bill Gates on just this situation that's occurring now. So, and that was just a few months back. So it was obviously part of the plan. Like I say, I'm just running down here real quick right now just to see if anything pops up. China's markets are crashing as well. They're not doing too good. Well, and that's because of the trade situation with the tariffs and all that. Plus now, with the release of the virus, of course, there are quarantines and things like that going on, and inhibited travel elsewhere, and that might put a little damper on my theory, but I don't think so because in the end, they're not going to have the resources to accommodate their people anyway, to the extent that they do now. So I'm not sure. It may be that they've made that conscious decision, and they're willing to take that hit to win in the end. Sort of like calling artillery on your own position. Sort of like that situation. William Anders, love how you greet us with a coffee slurp. I know you didn't say that because to be nice. I don't care. I don't care if you don't want to be here. I ain't making you stay here. Okay. Tracy Potter, your rug will survive. We're gonna have it. Listen, I've talked about why I have one of these things. I've talked about it several times. I have a condition. I was injured in my on the top of my head with some chemicals, and it burned me pretty bad. It left some scarring that can turn cancerous, and the doctor says you will have something on your head, a hat or this hairpiece at all times, except if you're in complete dark. I'm even subject to the new LED lights. They even give me a problem. So it's not really a point of vanity, although my head doesn't look very... I'm definitely not a Yul Brynner or a Joe Rogan, that's for sure. I wouldn't know how to get it to you anyway. Thanks for bringing it up. As you can tell, I'm not embarrassed about it. Crap. Yeah, colloidal silver, Edison James, you're absolutely right. Like I said, I didn't want to sound like a doctor making a suggestion, but there is something to that. That's all I'll say. Garlic, colloidal silver, and iodine, very important things. Vitamin C, those four things. Colloidal silver, iodine, vitamin C. Garlic, those four things. They won't protect you against everything, but it helps to build you up, okay? And then you do the other things that you need to do to, avoid crowds, avoid people that are sick, those kinds of things. All right. Yeah, Crazy Lala, you're very kind. And by the way, I did get your message on the DMs. It's just like I told you, I'm not real fond of answering those. Please don't take it personally. There are hundreds of them on there I haven't addressed. Okay, I just happened to see yours. I hit that by accident every once in a while, and there'll be one there. But thank you for that. Okay. Yeah, LED. That's a good point. Bellicose hyperbole 737. LED lights can damage your eyes. Yeah, no doubt. I don't. I didn't know that, but I have no doubt that's the case. I know looking at screens so much lately, my eyes have given me some trouble lately. Okay, I think we're done. We've gone down the list. I want to thank everybody for coming. I know this was unannounced. Like I said, I'm probably going to do more of this type if I do them at all. But I did want to give you those basic things today. One is that I love the SOTU, but I also know there was a lot of hyperbole, a lot of exaggeration, a lot of credit there that was taken that wasn't due. I like the fact that Trump had those people there that he honored and he was trying to draw attention to. Great, great, great. But no, he is not standing up for our First Amendment. No, he's not standing up for the First and Fourth Amendments. Quite to the contrary. Okay, our government, the very thing that makes us different from the rest of the world, he's helping to destroy by not acting. Okay, bottom line. And the other thing, again, on the deal with the coronavirus and what I think China is up to call their population and to send a warning to the United States that they have the technology to carry this out. And that goes along with the their attack on our electronic defenses, both at the submarine off the coast of Los Angeles in 2013, and then the wreck of the USS Fitzgerald when they were jammed and their navigational systems were compromised. That's all I got for you. It took an hour to get through all that, but really the basic information is just that. So thanks for everybody for coming. I'm sure I'll see you again at some point in the future, just don't know when. Or what exactly the subject matter will be. Well, yeah, I do. The subject matter will be Durham, Barr, Trump, and what are they doing? Because if they don't get if they don't fix this, we're done. Okay, we are done. The whole principle of the constitutional framework is going to be destroyed by Bolsheviks. That's where it's going. Okay. All right, everybody. Appreciate you coming. Hey, thanks. We'll go out here with little music and stuff, and then I'll see you again at some other time. Thanks for coming out here.